producer of the film, Ofer Naim. Ofer, thank you again for being with us, and thank you for this wonderful film.
Thank you for coming.
Please have a seat. We got a lot of questions for you. I want to start with let's start with the production itself. Actually, I want to start with the story behind it, where this all started, who decided to make a movie about this. As far as I can tell, who here knew about this story before? And then the people from the Motzah, it's pretty much an unknown story in Israeli history. And where did it come from? What kind of research did you do? And how true is it to reality?
I also didn't know about this story until I read the book that the scriptwriter Professor Meyer Tuviansky wrote. He wrote a book 10 years ago about this case, and when he showed us the script, we are very surprised about it, and we decided to do this movie. All the movie based on true story that the people that have been alive after the case tell to Meyer Tuviansky. And we try to make it like the thing is going in this case.
And why do you think the story was so under the covers? I mean, obviously it's an embarrassing story, but there's a lot to learn from it.
I think nobody can be proud about a case like this. And it was the beginning of the country. The case is going 6 weeks after the country born. And they didn't, I think they didn't want that people know about a case like this.
And let me ask you about the production a little bit. I mean, this is a period piece, which is not done that often in Israel, and it's done beautifully. And as far as just creating 1948, when anyone who's visited Israel today, unfortunately, there's not a lot left of 1948. How did you go about that? How was this achieved? What were kind of some of the special things you did to really recreate that time?
Historical picture movie doesn't do good in theatrical. The people love comedy and something like that, and we decided to do this movie that everybody knows that case like this happen, and people should know about it, and know that it was a mistake, and mistake happen sometimes, and that's all.
Yes, but the shooting itself, to make it look like 1948, where did you shoot? How did it recreate?
Israel know that was placed that have been stopped from 48, and we can find a place like this and car like this, and it's all money.
Okay. One last question before we open up to questions from the audience. Have members of the Tuviansky family seen the film, and what have been the reactions?
I think is the son of his son saw this movie, and he loved what we did for his name.
Finally cleared. Let's take a question. Right up there. Here's a microphone in the desk.
How can something as horrific as this be just dismissed as a mistake? Well, it was a mistake. I mean, nobody paid for it. It's just, to me,
I think, on my opinion, that it was a starting of country, and there is, when things start, there is a balagan. You know what's a balagan in Hebrew? And everybody do what they want, don't ask things, and they saw that they live.
Let me focus that question for a minute into what I think is really the core here. Why do you think, and how did it happen that they got away with such minimal sentences, if at all?
After all, they was a hero for the country. They fight, and they got all the army together, and it was good name for them as a warrior, as a soldier in the IDF.
You take today, and I like to think that today is a different world. Listen, you take someone like that example. Ehud Olmert has done a lot for the country, but when he does something wrong, he's going to go to jail.
Yeah, today is something else.
That's good. You got it, microphone.
Hi. So, based on the movie, Ghibli is the one who did all things, basically. So, first of all, what happened? Not only he didn't pay, but also he became the head of the intelligence. How can it be? And what happened to him?
This is Israel. I don't want to judge him, but
how true is the character there?
He keep telling until he died 4 or 5 years ago that he is innocent and he do the right thing. This was his.
And you have to remember, of course, Israel was a very small country at the time, and people were very well connected to one another, and the social networks, of course, were very, very strong. And if you're well networked, you'll get pardoned by the president, and you'll also have actually the judges possibly in ways going a little easy on you.
Such a bad judgment. How can he later become head of the intelligence? He made such a bad judgment. Not even punishing him.
I believe the judge get an order from someone to.
And it was clearly a slap on the wrist. That's basically all it was.
It's not only immoral what he did, but he was a bad judgment. Why would you take somebody like this to be head of intelligence? Because he made
people were able to look past it and just see it as not a big deal. Let's take another question right down here.
I just want to shout at he made another terrible mistake 3 years later, for which many good Jews in Egypt got into prison, and 2 of them were hanged. And he still never sat in jail. He became a very connected society person, big businessman, and very rich.
And good looking.
And good looking.
And
this I say, maybe it says something not only about 1948, maybe it says something about now.
And that's the connection to the Lakota fans?
Folks, we're going to pass the mic and do this in an orderly manner. We have a question on top.
I have a question less about the politics, but more about the production. And I think that woman asked it really briefly, but where, in terms of the character assessment and the personality, where did that information come from? In terms of knowing what kind of personality Ghibli had, who testified that any of the 2 soldiers who were coming to vindicate Tuviansky, did they end up speaking up? Who was able to talk about the personalities of these characters in the movie?
The character based on the true story that all the live people can tell. David and Avram still alive, and the two Zev was still alive, and they can put together all the details to build this character.
I'm sure some dramatic,
The scriptwriter, when he wrote this book, he talked with all of them.
Thank you. I'm concerned about the trauma inflicted upon Mrs. Tuviansky and the child. What happened to them? How did this affect their lives?
The country also think about them, and I think that they get the money first of all, and the son become of head of the Kur Gerini Dimona when we go get a job,
Became the head
good job.
The head of the, not that there is an atomic,
I didn't say atomic. I just say Kur Atomic Dimona. That's in Hebrew. I don't know in English.
you got a good job in
It says the place that make toys and everything like this.
So clearly he was compensated in some ways. I want to piggyback on that. I'm not talking about the real characters, but talk about the actors who were fantastic. The wife, I thought she was fantastic. I think the guy who played Tuviansky. Can you tell us a little bit about those people?
If you don't know them, most of them is a very big star in Israel. Ofer Naim that made the Ghibli, and Ofer that very successful here in the United States, and Michal Kita, all of them was big character, big movie player in Israel. The wife is playing in the theater, and we find it should be a Polish and character like this.
She was fantastic. As were many of the other ones. Let's take one last question up there.
Thank you. I read that Abu Khushi was involved in this. Is it true? The mayor of Haifa, because he was hating Tuviansky from the time it was a police officer in Haifa. And the second question, what was the position of David Ben-Gurion?
Position?
Yeah, what did he do? Did he approve it before, and did he do anything like that?
He was the prime minister, and there is
One party.
in this time there was one party, and they do what they want. They did what they want.
That period of time in Israel, I mean, I think we saw South Shabbat the other night, and I know there was a lot of internal corruption, and it was almost a socialist country where people really scratched each other's backs, and that was how you moved forward, and it was very much like it could be compared to communist Russia in some ways. Folks, there's a lot more questions, and Ofer will be here for a few minutes.
Thank you everyone for coming. Thank you.
I want to thank you all. Tickets are selling.